Don't know if I like this, but got a new ring light. Literally have had it for almost like a month, and I haven't used it. I haven't left my apartment in about 3 days, which you think would affect me negatively, and a little bit it has. Also, look at my nails. Um, hold on. Yeah, they're focused, I think. I've been in food service for a very long time, and washing your hands a lot kind of fucks up your skin and your nails. So usually, like in between running tasks, I would literally just rip off my thumbnails, and this is like the longest I've ever had them without them breaking on me, which is like bonkers, bananas, crazy to me. But I just wanted to kind of just vent and yap and talk and just tell you things that I've been kind of binging and being interested in. Also, we're gonna see me put on like 17 different moisturizers because the one that I like, I finally ran out of after using that bitch every single day. So I think I might need to do a little like Ulta or Target moisturizer restock or something like that. I don't really have the money to be spending anything, of course, but I'm still going to, because if there's one thing that I am vain about or really care about, like I've also kind of become less insecure about leaving the house without makeup on. And that was one of the things that, like, when I was younger, you would not catch me dead without my eyeliner on or like stuff on my face. Not stuff on my face, but just like any sort of makeup. And now I'm just come to accept that, like, sometimes you don't. I think also maybe just because I'm also like in my long term relationship where I just like don't feel the need to impress anybody. So doing makeup and skincare is more for me than anything and how I look at myself. Because if I catch myself in a mirror and I look at myself and I'm like eyelinerless, or I know like I'm crusty and haven't showered in a day, I'm like, wow, bitch, you look funky. And then I get embarrassed and I'm like, wow, I really should take better care of myself. That's kind of been in my head. I'm like, wow, I really used to be super dedicated to my skincare and have like a 20-step routine. And I still kind of have a 20-step routine, but I'm also going to be so real with you because I am. See, I would consider this maybe like a mild depressive episode. I wouldn't really consider this like an intense one, just because like I'm taking my medication, right, and it's slowly we're getting there, adjusting to the new dosage, right? Like it's I guess maybe I'm just like adjusting to it or something. But I don't know. The one thing that I'm still struggling with is just the motivation aspect, right? Like my fiance asked me to do the dishes, and I didn't do them, and it's not like that I didn't want to. I just didn't do them, and it's less like defiance and more just like, oh, I can just do them tomorrow because I have time, right? And I feel like that's the one thing that kind of hinders me maybe when it comes to procrastination and these uh low mood episodes where it's just like, oh, I could just do it tomorrow, but I'm supposed to like live every day as if it were my last, right? In order to like improve my mental health or whatever. And it's like, girl, if I die today, the dishes are still gonna be there tomorrow. So in a sense, is it nihilistic for me to just avoid doing the dishes until like the last minute? I did do the dishes yesterday, but it's I need to whiten my teeth. I think I would categorize these feelings of low mood episodes as periods of unmotivation, right? Because I'm always thinking like I could be doing this, I could be doing that, I could be, but I'm not. Also, I'm really excited to use this because I tested this out on my skin yesterday, not my skin, on my hand yesterday, and it literally, like when I first tested it in store, it did not do shit. This is the Laura Mercier tinted moisturizer, and when I tell you this shit disappeared, um, she was gone. And I guess that's the one of tinted moisturizers, right? Like it's just supposed to add the extra oomph, but I think it's like SPF 15 or 25, which isn't horrible. But I'm still gonna put on SPF on top of this, but just like to have a little bit of even color. Um, Also, this was the Dr. Jart Cica Repair Cream, which I like. I actually really like Centella. Um, I just feel like I'm not, maybe I'm not using the right one, or I'm just using the wrong serum, because I still felt like one of the concerns that I have, especially when I was at Sephora, which is my redness. Like whenever I get flustered or anything like that, I just tend to be visibly red. Also, I'm looking over here because I have my mirror over here. I'm not ignoring you, I promise. I don't know. I just, and maybe lack of. Oh, this is kind of. This is kind of nice, but I also did put on like 17 moisturizer. So I honestly, I'm gonna be so real. I could not tell you this makes any difference at all. But it's just fun. It's fun, right? Like why spend money on a fucking $52 tinted moisturizer when it's just that a moisturizer with a little bit of pigment on it? Like that's so butt cheeks. And don't get me wrong, I love Laura Mercier, but then it just goes to the hypocrisy, right, of some of the cosmetics or big brands in the beauty industry, right, where they're just like selling you fucking snake oil in a bottle that's gonna promise you you're gonna be so glowing, you're gonna be so gorgina, and in reality you're kind of just wasting your money. But that's why it's beneficial, right, to have influencers or content creators to show you the product for free, but you can't even trust their review or their promises because they're being paid by Big Beauty to lie to you. So it's just like, who do I believe? Do I go OG and I look at the beauty blogs and I really truly read their review, or do I go and test it out myself? What do I do as a consumer? I think that's a really fun not game I like to play in my head, but just like, what are we doing at this point? Like, I mean, honestly, new products are still being invented, which I think is really cool, which is really fascinating. Also, like, what do you mean, like, new snacks are still being invented, and we still have new products and new innovations happening still? I think that's really fascinating, and so that's one thing that really enamors me about the tenacity of human ingenuity, I guess, that we still have a plethora and myriad of products and identities and brands, and yet somehow we're still inventing things that are unheard of or can really repair your skin or fix bloating or alleviate some sort of issue that we have, or just make a fun new candy product or whatever. I don't know. I think that's really really cool, because a lot of the times, right, people feel like, oh, there's no new, and I guess myself too included, because I can be a little cynical, right, that there's no new products or there's no original ideas anymore, but you still have like these young extremely talented people who are doing just that, making new things and having fun with it and making a name for themselves and just pioneering new concepts. And I think that's really beautiful, and I no longer feel very envious of them. All I can do is just be supportive, right? Because it's like, why am I gonna be an old ass fucking hater? No, I'm gonna support you. I'm gonna repost and share and comment and support you, because there's no point in me being a little bitch ass hater. Even though I obviously could be right, but I think it's funner to to hate on things that have already been established and kind of just support the underdogs, right? Because if all they have is negativity, how are they gonna flourish? How are they gonna further create, or how are they gonna continue to test their own test the limits of creativity and originality, so on and etc. I think that's a really beautiful thing, and that's one of the things that I can appreciate YouTube now, at least in the modern era, for, because finally they're showing a lot of support for smaller creators if you choose to engage with them. That's the thing. You still have to like click and subscribe and stuff like that. I think that's been really cool, at least on the YouTube side, that finally, after so much badgering, I suppose, from other individual smaller creators or people who have been on the platform for so long and haven't grown a lot, like myself, that are just like, hey girl, what are you doing for smaller creators, right? Because you still have to have a niche, I suppose, or you still have to have some reason for people to click and to view on you, which I think is a maybe also a ego issue with myself, because I'm just like, damn, I really like the video that I made. But I think that's one of the things that can also be hindering, is, right, like, I like my content, but that doesn't mean everybody else is. So it kind of just means I have not necessarily a stick up my ass, but I think, oh, I'm so cool and I'm so interesting that other people are going to want to watch me. And of course, I've come to terms with that. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and that's fine. I don't have to be everybody's cup of tea. But it would be nice to. It would be nice to be so palatable to a bunch of their audience that they just throw you their money. But I think that's fun. I think it's, at least now in my seniority, I think it's fun. I think there's a lot of gratuity, a lot of appreciation when when you have to kind of fight for your audience a little bit more, and I kind of enjoy that. I'm still shilling myself everywhere, and the growth is slow, but it's fun. And I think now, instead of trying to view it as a quick money making scheme, because right, a lot of people want to have this as their sort of new job, right? They want to abandon their old life for this current one and make bank off of social media, which is completely understandable, right? We live in a very unfair, extreme capitalist era where you kind of really have to, with inflation and the price of cost of living is just absolutely absurd. You kind of have to play into the game and figure out what can I do to get leagues ahead, right? And of course, one of the overnight success, easier accessible things to the common folk, right? And that's not an insult in any way, but what you've seen people, at least I've um found one person, and I'll pop him up right here, which I found him really endearing, and I really really appreciate his story and what he was sharing with people, because so often, right, you don't really see regular people, or and if you do, they do have like a small following, or they have something interesting about them, right? But he just seemed kind of like and this is no form or way an insult. He just seemed like someone who was just going through the motions and found a good way to support himself on TikTok. And it's just he just seems so humble and so like that could be my friend, literally. And it's not someone that I aspire to be, or someone that I envy, or that content is cleanly polished, with those people who are like, oh, come to work with me, or a day in my life, or slow living diaries, where their content is extremely polished and meant to either sell you a product or sell you their brand so that they can show stuff for other companies, right? Like, it's very human to see, and it's very nice. It's a lot of like home video vibes where literally people are just sharing slices of their life with you, which I really really enjoy, and what I really like seeing as well on YouTube. And it's nice. Sure, nice, clean, sorry, this is gonna be anyway. Nice, clean, polished content is really really aesthetically pleasing and catches your eye, right? It's what keeps you going. But I think the one thing that I've found a lot more interesting as I get older is to kind of seek out that less polished, that more rough around the edges, that familiar, almost like you're visiting an old friend after a while, or you're kind of just catching up with a cousin you haven't seen in a decade. Just not normal. I can't come up with a word. My fucking vocabulary has been diminished, especially with the as the young ones call it, the brain rot that has fucking just destroyed all the worms in my brain. And I wanted to share actually things that I've been enjoying, but maybe I can just do that at the end of this while I'm finishing up my eyeliner. I don't know, but I need to shut up and focus. So give me a moment and I'll come back and we'll wait, hold on. Let me finish the because this is the one thing too where maybe I have ADD or maybe not, or there's just so many things that go on. Because again, if you didn't know, I am an only child, so when I tend to go on and rant about things, it can kind of be never ending unless I'm interrupted. And because it's just me talking to a camera and there's no way to like redirect or circle back on the conversations that I'm having because it's just me ranting to a camera again, I kind of lose focus of what I was talking about previously, and then I never circle back. And then my friends will tell me after they watched the whole video to completion that they're like, hey, what did you even mean by this? And if I go back and look at the point, I'm gonna be like, oh wow, I didn't even know what the fuck I was gonna continue even saying. So to finish the thought of what I was talking about the people who have a small following account and who really are just making a living or doing these things for a hobby and sharing their life with you. I don't want to say endearing, but it just seems so normal, so appreciative, so I want to say just like cool, not even artistic, because it doesn't have to be, because they're just themselves, right? It's just nice to see, right? Because they're not putting on airs, they're not throwing a product in their face, they're not saying, oh, thank you to Squarespace or BetterHelp or anything like that, right? It's literally just them existing and showcasing pieces of their life that they've put together to show to you, and it's nice, and it's quiet, and it's, to me, interesting, because right, I can only be myself and I can only view my life through my lens. But seeing this interesting, unique perspective from a younger person who I may have never found or even connected with otherwise, show what they go through and their lifestyle and what they find interesting and what they choose to show. And I think that's my favorite part, is what they pick and choose to show, whether it's interesting or not interesting, or even just like a car passing by, right? I think there's a, it doesn't seem like a lot of thought was put into it, but I feel like there's just a lot of I don't have the words to say it, or at least it's not coming to my mind, but I just really enjoy it. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do, I guess, or just trying to showcase, right? That like this isn't for a living, this is just for fun. And I think we need a lot more of that, because a lot of people are trying to find monetary value and really push the limits of what they can do and kind of burn themselves out when they do, right, the full-time work and then also the creative work. And of course it's not impossible, right? There's plenty of people who've done that before. There's also plenty of people who we see who have this polished content, who either have company backing or who have family backing, who are able to do this because they don't have a full-time job. But not to say that that work isn't real work, right? But they don't really have like concrete hours that they put in at a 9 to 5 or a service industry job, right? So it can be a little bit cynical and disheartening, especially for smaller creators. But just know that it's fun, it's fine, and just keep doing it. Because had I done this a lot earlier and I kept doing it and I kept up with it, I probably wouldn't have been begging for 2 subscribers so that I hit 400. But that's neither here nor there, and that's something for me to deal with. But again, it's just still fun to complain about it. So give me a second, I'll be right back. My eyeliner is not particularly even, but I'm gonna be so honest, I don't care, because I'm just gonna take it off as soon as I get home. I don't know what to do with my hair. I feel like, okay, let me shut up. Let me finish the video. Things that I've been thoroughly enjoying and having a lot of fun consuming media about: Hunter x Hunter, Hisoka and Illumi. Even though I fucking hate their characters, I love their designs and I love their dynamics together, and I need those two men to kiss passionately in front of me, even though they're animated. Andrew Solomon and J Demon, I am literally like so close to finishing the book. I have just not cracked it open. It's at my job, but it's really, really good fucking read. And I implore anyone who has consistently been struggling with mental health conditions, or specifically depression and anxiety, a good majority of your life, like from adolescence to adulthood, or even more so in adulthood, read that fucking book. You're going to find so much clarity and understanding, and you're gonna just learn so much. I feel like my mind has been cracked open a little bit, and I'm just enjoying the ride, because I really, really enjoy his style of writing. It's very, very forward, and it's very almost academic in a sense, but it's because it like flips between being extremely personal to academic to almost like journaling, like very personal. So I really, really like the shifts in tones that happen, but the way that he ties it all together is very, very interesting and an insanely good read. What else have I started Gungrave. Oh, I finished Sunny Boy, and I also finished, I forgot the name of it, but I'll put it up here. And I kind of want to bring back my personal podcast and talk about it, just because I love, especially with being, I fucking hate being partially employed, because right, I have too much time on my hands. I don't know what to do with it. Even though I could be creating things or reading things or learning things or just working on my physical health, right, I'm not doing any of that. But I think that's just a issue that comes with unlearning bad habits, because I'm really leaning into those, because I of course have been bed rotting and brain rotting and looking at things that I definitely shouldn't be looking at as a fucking 27-year-old. But it's just rough. But again, this is something that I've gone through several times in my life, and I know that I'll be able to eventually shed this layer of unmotivation and find peace and work, paid work, and get back on the horse. Because right, you can be kicked off of it so many times, but as long as you get back on and keep going, there's things to look forward to. At least that's what I think. What else have Fried by Fluoride, band that I just discovered, really, really good. I also have on repeat Slater's new album, FM Thoughts. Really, really good. Dedicated to his aunt that passed away. Also, he's touring again for some reason, and maybe that's just his coping mechanism, but goddamn, dude, this whole year he's been touring, but I love that for him, and hopefully I can get a new job fairly fast so that I can go to VV Fest in November, or I don't know, because also I'm seeing Mitski at the end of the year and I'm very excited, and then also my fiance bought tickets to Julie. I don't even like Joey like that, but some of his songs are good, but it'll be fun to see the nodding in the pit apparently. But those are the few things that I've been enamored by that have been consuming 70% of my brain because I'm constantly consuming media about them. But I'm interested to see where Gungrave goes. But it's it's nice. So definitely a product of its time. I love the style of it. But that's all. Sorry for talking your ear off, and if you made it this far, thank you, love you, kisses forever. You're my oofy, you're my bookie, you're my stink. Thank you. Bye.